If you are a new bookkeeper or have just recently started a bookkeeping business, you may be asking yourself or others, how do I find my bookkeeping clients? But what you should be asking instead is, how do I sell my bookkeeping services to prospects? That is what I'm going to be talking to you about in today's video. It's all about how to sell, not during the discovery call, but after the discovery call. Because in the last few videos that I've shared with you, we've gone over what the heck is a discovery call anyway, and the different names that it goes by, because at the end of the day, it is a sales call. But here's the thing. The way that I teach you is not to sell during the discovery call, but instead do this, to sell after, in the follow-up call. Not before, not during the call, but after. How does that sound? The selling is in the follow-up. That's where we're going to be shining. That's where we're going to be doing all the things that we want to do in terms of letting the prospect know how they can work with us and why they should. Before we go any further, hello, my name is Veronica Sagastumi, and I created this channel, The Profitable Bookkeeping Biz, so that I could share with you ways that you could start, run, and scale a profitable bookkeeping business. When I first got started, I knew that I needed to offer discovery calls. I had been told that anyway, but I wasn't quite sure what to do, what to say, what was supposed to be the sort of like the process, and let alone the follow-up. But over time, I started to get a little bit of practice under my belt and started to get a little bit more comfortable, as well as I got some training, because in the early days, I really wasn't confident and I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what I didn't know. And so that made me secretly wish that no one would really book a call with me, which is not the thing that you want when you're starting a business that you want to run and scale. So I needed to get over that fear or the not unknown, right? I needed to get rid of the unknown. And so I started by asking questions, by doing some reading, and by coming up with my own thing. What would I want to know, or what would I want my prospect to know in order for them to make a decision to hire me? And that's where we got started. That's how I developed a process that to this day, that was very many, many years ago. And by the way, my early on discovery calls were not calls at all. I would actually go and meet with people in person for a good 20, 30-minute in person, face-to-face kind of meeting. Gone are those days. Nowadays, we do it online. We can use Zoom, Skype, Google Meets, whatever you want to do. But I do encourage you to do it face-to-face via video, because it will accelerate the process. I promise. And I don't want you to do what I did, which is to avoid or secretly hope that no one books with you. I want you to be confident and show up ready, willing, and able to provide value, to be of service, and to provide the solution to your prospect's problem. All right, without further ado, let's talk about the follow-up to the discovery call. Even though I have talked about what is a discovery call and how to host a profitable and efficient discovery call, I will link to those videos in this video, whether you'll see them flashing in the cards, or I will put the links to those videos in the description below. I want to make sure that you have everything that you need in order to be confident, show up, prepared, not only for the before and the during, but now the after, because this is where you're going to shine. This is where I'm going to ask you to continue to do that high touch selling that I mentioned during the how to run a discovery call. I want you to focus on doing a high touch in the early days. It's not sustainable long term. We're not talking about that. We are really focusing on those early days where you want to gain momentum, because it's a numbers game. Not everybody that books a discovery call with you is going to hire you, but it is a numbers game. So that means that the more calls that you host, that you offer and have, that the conversion rate is ultimately going to happen. But I want you to have a process. A standardized process means that you have a flow to how you show up, the questions that you ask, the notes that you take, and the follow-up that you do. And that's what we're talking about today. Before I go any further, if you find this video helpful and valuable, please subscribe and give me a follow. That way you will never miss another video that I publish in the future, because I do publish one every single week with the whole goal of helping you to start, run, and scale your profitable bookkeeping business. All right, let's get back to today's topic. So I'm talking about the follow-up, for you to sell in the follow-up, but even the follow-up has a structure to it. I want to give you the best practice first. Best practices is this. If you host your call in the morning, then you're going to follow up with your prospects by the end of that same day. If you host your call at the end of the day, you're going to follow up with your prospect by the next morning. And as you are wrapping up the discovery call, in those last few minutes, you tell them, you set the expectation that they will be receiving an email from you, that you will have a recap of what was discussed during the discovery call, as well as any additional information that you think would be of value to them. Always providing service. All right. Now let's get back to, that was the best practice, but I want to make sure that you understand that in order to follow up, you can have a framework. For example, I have an email template in my email at Google, and I just have the template and I have the sections highlighted in yellow that I know I need to customize with that discovery calls information. But the flow is the same. I have a 4 to 5 part email, and I say 4 to 5 part because it does depend on what you'd like to do. I am going to encourage you to do the high touch one, which would include 5 parts. All right, let's go. Actually, let's say 6, because the subject line is going to be another one. We start with the subject line. The subject line is always going to be follow up to the discovery call with your name as the person who hosted the discovery call and your prospect's name. That way, there is no confusion as to what it is. Follow up to discovery call. Okay, that's part number 1. In the body of your email follow up, you're going to start with number 2. You're going to move into your thank you greeting. The thank you greeting is just that. You're going to thank them for their time, or you're going to say something like, it was great to meet you via Zoom. I really enjoyed our conversation. I appreciate your time. Below is the follow up to what I mentioned at the end of our call. Then you're going to move into the next point. That's number 3. And that is a link to the discovery call. During the discovery call, in the video that I shared with you, how to run the discovery call, I mentioned that you may want to ask their permission to record the call, not only for your purposes so that you could study it and see where you could improve, but also maybe if you missed anything. But do you see how incredible it would be? They're not going to expect this from a free discovery call, where you can add a section that says, click here to hear or to listen or watch our discovery call session. I like to put it in a blue font and highlighted yellow so there's no mistake. And I separate it. So I've got the subject line, the thank you greeting, and now it's the click here to watch or listen our discovery call. It takes no time at all. Usually, as the video is rendering, I'm updating the email so that by the time the email is filled out with the customized information that I'm updating, the video is all ready to go, and I either host it in Dropbox or Google Drive, and I just grab the link to share and give it to them. 4th point, recap. Quick recap. I like to label it all in caps, and then I bullet it. Summary, highlights, whatever you want to call it, what comes next. 3 to 5 points, highlight their pain points. You shared that blah, 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 blank, blank, blank. You shared that you were struggling with keeping up with your books. You shared that you were confused as to what the numbers were supposed to tell you. You mentioned that, again, you're highlighting their pain points, and then we go into the next section, which may be where you add value. You said, I recommended that you watch this. I suggested that you grab this opt-in that I have in my resource. You share the link to your resource. 2 to 3 points of you're highlighting the value. Okay. And that is where you're starting to add value. You see the shift. There's 2 goals for my discovery call follow-up. 1, to provide value. 2, what is that? Surprise and delight your prospect, because they're not going to expect this from a free discovery call. And then it is to make sure that they know what are the next steps, because I have the solution to their problem. By hiring me, by hiring my firm, I can help them to XYZ. And that's where I'm highlighting the benefits even further. So let's just do a quick recap. We got the subject line, very clear, the thank you greeting, the link to the discovery call recording, the quick recap of the call, and fifth, you're either giving them a few resources, adding value, recapping what it is that you mentioned that would be of service to them. And then the sixth part is next steps. The next steps would be keep it super simple. Don't overwhelm them with a lot of different options. Stay focused on what it is that they book that discovery call with you for. All right. So you want to make sure that you say, here's a link to book a paid discovery or strategy call with me where I can help you to XYZ, where I can help you to, assess your books and let you know or reconcile, bring you up to date, whatever it is that you guys discussed and what you think would be a good solution to their problem. Or you invite them to a call where you can do the data gathering to prepare a proposal to then be able to provide a service, whether it's a retainer, monthly bookkeeping retainer type of service. Maybe it's to get all their taxes caught up. Maybe it's to do a system conversion or a one-time assessment of their books because they're so far behind, they need a catch up. Whatever it is, you're giving them two options. One is to book another call where you're specifically discussing data gathering in order to prepare a proposal, or two, you're going to give them a link to what a paid strategy or send them an invoice where they can then retain you. Now, I can give you a lot more information in terms of you could send a consulting agreement, all that. Don't do it. A consulting agreement comes a little bit later. You could do a follow-up to the follow-up, but the initial follow-up to the discovery call has those 6 parts. Subject, thank you greeting, link to the discovery. Now, if you don't have the recording that you want to share, skip that part. That is okay. I'm just saying high touch discovery call, you will stand out from all of those people that don't offer that. And you just let them know, hey, we discussed some really good things in here that I thought you might be interested in. Be sure to download it by such and such date. You're recapping what it is that you guys discussed during the discovery call. You're highlighting the pain points, but you're making sure that you're very good about highlighting your challenge, your problem, your, like stressor point. And then you're saying, I can assist you with, I can support you with, here are some things that I suggested that I recommended. Click the link to grab. Here's a resource. Here's an article. Here's a quick process recap that we talked about. So other than that, you go into, the next steps is like a few ways that I may be able to support you. That language is so, it's not a sales language, it's like you're saying, I'm here if you need me. I'm willing to support you. I know I can help you, but it's up to you. And so you give them the 2 links and don't overwhelm them with a lot of different options. I'm going to say this again. Don't sell during the discovery call. People expect it. So when you don't do it, it's another way of delighting your prospect, leaving them with a really good experience. Because as I mentioned in that other video of how to run a successful discovery call, you're making those initial first impressions. You're making that first impression from the very get-go of what the communication of how they're going to schedule that call with you. And then you're making yet another first impression when you show up prepared, ready, willing, and able to be of service. And then you're making another great initial impression when you do a follow-up and you're providing value first. And then you're leading them into, here are some ways that I can support you. How does that sound? How does that feel to you? This is how you start to sell your bookkeeping services without constantly bombarding people with saying, hire me, hire me, hire me. Show up to provide, to be of service, to provide value, to help your prospects, and then let them know how they can work with you. And then you schedule the call, because again, I usually will leave 10 to 15 minutes in my calendar after the discovery call while the video is rendering. I customize my template. My template already has all those sections. I'm just going through and updating the sections while it's fresh in my mind. And as soon as the video is ready, I grab that link and then I schedule it. So if my call was at 10 a.m. that morning, I schedule it to go out by 4 p.m. that afternoon. And you can do that with typically your email service providers, you're able to schedule those calls. If my call was around 3:30, 4 o'clock, and I finished the email, I schedule it for the following morning. as we discussed. It's done. That's how you come up with your high touch follow up to your discovery calls where you're actually starting to sell. A few days later, maybe 2 to 3 days, if you haven't heard back from them, it's a great time for you to piggyback on that same email follow up that you sent, call it up, and then maybe you have another resource that you'd like to share with them, another opt in to your email service provider, or maybe it's a worksheet or a checklist or a cheat sheet, something that you think would be of value to them. I usually will have 2 or 3 that I have access to, or I will share a link to one of my YouTube videos that I thought would be a good training. It's like, hey, you mentioned that you were having a hard time finding your first bookkeeping client. Here is a video that I recently did that I think would be helpful and valuable, and let me know what you think. And again, if you have any questions about the other follow-up email that's attached to this thread, let me know. I'm here for you. I hope you're doing well. So that is how we sell. That is how you sell your bookkeeping services in a high touch manner in the very beginning. How does that sound, you guys? Will you do it? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear, first impressions matter. How about that? I'd love to know that you watched this video till the very end. So leave me a comment. First impressions matter. And that is all I've got. If you found this video valuable, please subscribe and give me that thumbs up. And again, I will be here with you next time, same place. I'm Veronica Sagastumi. Bye for now.